Not to mention the most satisfying kerchunk in the game. You have to listen to it to believe it. Oh, shit. Accidentally wound an exposure. Crap. Hello, YouTube. The world's gone crazy. My beloved state of California is on fire. So I'm here to entertain you. So a little bit about myself. Unless you're my mom watching this, you probably don't know me. I've been a professional photographer for over a decade, and this is my first YouTube video. My career as a photographer can be split up into several different sections: product photography, fashion and lifestyle photography, and even celebrity photography. R.I.P. But you, my friend, you're here for that good. You're not here to see those beautiful people and celebrities. You're a photo nerd like me, and you want to see exactly how this bad boy, the Hasselblad 500cm, acts in the digital world. The Hasselblad 500cm is considered the Rolls Royce of the medium format film world. Only the biggest of the big dogs back in the day used them. I'm talking about Leibowitz, Avedon, Arbus, and Pen. With their robust, modular, and sleek design, not to mention the killer Zeiss lenses, these were a favorite amongst the elite photographers back in the day. Also astronauts. That's right, they modified one of these puppies and sent it to the moon. But enough about the past. We're gonna take this camera that was made in the 1960s and blast it into the future. And no, I'm not talking about that sweet CFV 52 that Hasselblad just released. Though I would want to shoot with it. Hasselblad, please sponsor me. No, follow me into the future of the early 2000s. 2003 to be exact. Where Nickelback was topping the charts and Shia LaBeouf was playing a seminal role in the Even Stevens movie. It was a time when Phase One went full Charlie's Angels 2, full throttle, and dropped this bad boy, the H20, a masterful piece of engineering. This wonderful piece of technology boasts 16-bit color depth, ISO range 50 to 100, one frame every 1.3 seconds, all to top it off with a 16 megapixel sensor. Now how much do you think you want to pay for this? 5 grand? 10 grand? Try over $17,000. Fortunately for us in the present, we don't have to sell ourselves or our cars to actually own one of these. They go for about $400 or $600 on eBay. Now I'll admit, compared to today's DSLRs, the specs don't match up on paper. However, there's still room for this in my professional kit, and I'm going to show you why. So, let this be a lesson. Don't just balance everything everywhere. Your sap will collapse. Mine did twice. And it's also good to take a break sometimes. I went and disc golfed because I was frustrated. Now I'm back at it. Let's try again. Alright, I'm going to show you how I lit the shot. First, I removed the frosted dome. Now hopefully, the camera is able to pick up the contrast enough to show you this white wall right here. It's blocking off some light over onto the product. Then, you go over here to the side light, gridded at 10 degrees. Create the perfect contrast that will bounce off over here, giving light to the backdrop over here, but also pick up all the texture in that very textured label right there. I'm using 180mm Zeiss lens, f.4. It talks to the back and the lens to here, and from the back, output the flash to the pocket wizard. Okay, now that we've seen how the sausage is made, I want to show you the power and flexibility of the files that this 17-year-old digital back can produce.
Alright, let's go. Dust and scratches. Let's get off all this nonsense real fast, but just let's take a minute. Look at this, 16 megapixels. Still awesome. Still sharp. Clean it up, clean it up. Okay. Now I made a gradient for this. I shot one in camera, but I figured it's such a simple shape that, you know, let's not spoil things. Here it is in Capture One when I shot it in camera, but brought out a little bit of texture, but I just, didn't need it. Yeah, just kind of making the environment, dodging and burning, bringing out the bottle a little bit more, and then start toning it, you know, take down those greens, pump those yellows, make it a little classy. It's the best thing you can do. Went back and forth on seeing if I needed to actually correct the structure on it to make it more square, but didn't need it too much. And final curves adjustment layer, clean up a little bit more. Boom. Now I figure some of you pixel peeping latitude 11 nerds want to check out the photo in its raw format in the capture. So let's go do that. First I did start a custom ICC profile. I used my Datacolor Passport, created a custom profile. If you don't know what that means, it's basically telling the computer how to render the colors based off a chart that you put in front of the camera, and then you render out custom profile and then it comes out. After that, you know, white balance and you're off to the races. As for adjustments I actually made, not too much. There's contrast, a little bit of punch. Punch out of all the clarity methods is my favorite. It just makes it a little extra crispy. You can see right there, it's pretty shallow depth of field. That's what a medium format camera with a 180mm lens will do for you. Let's see how we can destroy this photo. First, let's check the shadow detail. I mean, that's pretty darn good. I don't know too many other DSLRs nowadays that can keep up. Maybe Sony, but then you have to not be a hater, but I don't know. Sony just renders really plasticky looking images, in my opinion. 17-year-old back. It's killing it. That's the most I could say about that. But okay, one haircut down and a few freelance gigs later, I'm back to finish this video. So let's talk about the pros and cons of shooting on this medium format sensor. First, let's start with the pros. One, it's a large sensor. What does a large sensor do? It gives you, one, shallower depth of field, different sort of aesthetic. Two, it allows for the gradients when it's being captured to be so much smoother than they would be on a normal 35mm. I feel like today's DSLRs are just so jam-packed full of megapixels, aka just tiny little sensors, that the more that they have on it, the more it causes confusion. With 16 megapixels inside of a medium format sensor, not that much confusion, smooth gradients, beautiful image quality. Love it. Second thing I love about the sensor, the image quality actually holds up when you try to tear it apart. Even though this thing's 17 years old, the dynamic range and latitude that this thing has is absolutely insane. And for $500 on eBay, it's a pretty killer deal. It's no joke. Thirdly, what I just love about this is, you know, I just love Hasselblad. It's just such a cool camera. Who couldn't love it? So pretty, so wonderful, so iconic. And you know what's better than owning one Hasselblad? Owning two Hasselblads.
I gotta tell you, this is pretty terrific.
And now for the cons. First, I don't have the viewer mask that came with it. What is the viewer mask, you might ask? Well, it's basically a little square piece of plastic that goes in to show your crop guides. Because This sensor, although large, is not a full 6x6 like what the Hasselblad shoots, so you have to crop in. And when I don't have that viewer mask, I'm estimating on where I am shooting. But fortunately, shooting through capture, you can keep on finagling it. It's just not the best way of handling things, because sometimes I think I have an excellent composition, but then it shows up not so good. Second con we have to talk about is the ISO range. 50 to 100, it's not that much. My studio lights aren't that powerful here. I'm using the Einsteins by Paul C. Buff. Awesome lights usually. However, they just don't pump out enough lights. I would need a Pro Photo Pack like a 2400 watt or something like that to really bring out all the range that I needed sometimes. However, my small home studio doesn't have a Pro Photo Pack. Next, let's talk about cocking the shutter. Usually today, we don't have to do that. All of our electronic shutters just go pop, pop, no problem. However, when you have to wind in between every single exposure, and I'm on wooden floors here, my tripod can slide and my composition can suffer. What I would suggest if I was shooting on this, or in my dream world, I would have something like a FOBA or a studio stand so I could keep on going without having to worry about ruining my composition every time I wound it forward. Kind of a personal problem. So I guess if you just sandbag down your tripod, that might not be that big of a deal, but for me, it was a little bit annoying every single time and just slightly off-putting my composition. Now let's talk about use cases for this product. For me, personally, I think creative product photography is a great market for it. I wouldn't really want to use it on any e-com sets due to the winding causing a little bit off differences between if I had to shoot a lot of products or not. I would really like to try shooting it on location with models. I would probably just need the world's most patient models though, as I only do one frame every 1.3 seconds. And you know, it's all manual focusing. You really want to make sure you got the shot before you just keep on clicking away. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. So that's it, guys. That's my first YouTube video. Let me know how you thought about it. Please subscribe. I had a lot of fun. I'm mostly a stills guy, so filming this, I've learned a lot, and I want to keep on learning, and I want to keep on making better content. So join me if you can. That'd be awesome. If you're here to the end, thank you. That's huge. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm a photographer. So thanks again. Talk to you later.